Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Make sure you go to hometownstation.com for all the latest and greatest in the Santa Clarita Valley. Speaking of the greatest in Santa Clarita, you can go to DVC. What?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, DVC-SCV.org. And Linda Davies in studio with us. And we're talking the Domestic Violence Center. 30 years in our valley.
That's right.
30 years. So what's going on? You guys are celebrating, I assume?
Yeah, we're having a big celebration.
What are we doing?
This Saturday. Well, we have it's going to be at Savia. You know, we moved to that community partnership down on Newhall Avenue.
Okay.
And we are going to have from 4 to 6 on Saturday afternoon. We have invited a lot of the board members and people that were the founding members of the Domestic Violence Center, which started in 1983 and is still around, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's cool and it's not cool, right? Because it's about domestic violence.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to know that maybe in 30 years we might have eradicated it, but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Let's hope you guys go out of business soon.
Yeah,
no
that's
offense.
what we want.
Yeah.
We want to go out of business. Yeah. You know, I'm getting old enough that maybe by the time I retire or something, we'll go out of business. But no, it's been alive and well for the last 30 years and growing and growing and growing. So, but what we're doing is we've invited folks to come, and it's going to be like a little wine and cheese, and we've made a video.
Cool.
Interviewed the folks that started the program, interviewed staff that are currently running programs so that people see sort of what our great foundation was that we started with, and then also how we've progressed over the years and now where our current vision is.
Cool.
Because right now we're really about intervention, prevention, and education. So we're about getting out into the community. We're about helping people with healthy relationships. We're about helping women move forward and gaining back their lives, and men too. I mean, there are men that get battered as well. But it's a very positive thing that we do at the Domestic Violence Center, really. You know, we help people restore their lives. But the thing that's kind of interesting is that it has had several names over the years, which is kind of a cool thing. 1983, it was Santa Clarita Valley Battered Women's Association. And at that moment in time, the director was Sherry Norris. And then we had another change that was the association, and that happened in 1987, Association to Aid Victims of Domestic Violence. And then it changed in 2002 to what it currently is now, Domestic Violence Center of the Santa Clarita Valley.
It's evolving a lot.
It's evolving a lot, okay.
Linda, how did you get involved with the Domestic
Violence Center? Well,
How and when?
Well, I'm the obviously the newest ED, right? So 2011, actually, I was working in Pasadena. I have a woman that I had worked with before at another program when I was in LA in the 90s, and she kind of sent me this email blast and said, hey, I got this great organization in Santa Clarita that's looking for a new ED, would you be interested? And way back in probably 1978, I actually ran a domestic violence shelter on Cape Cod. While we were looking for funding, I ran an American youth hostel. And during the winter, it wasn't very busy, so we used it as a shelter while we gained finances and wrote grants so that we could put a shelter somewhere else. So I had that bit of history in my life. I also have a little bit of DV history in my life from my first marriage.
Okay.
And so what happened was most of my life I've worked with women and children, but in child care programs. I've done parenting programs, and so when they said this to me, I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. I'll come take a peek at this and see what's going on. And I was really impressed by the the respect that the agency had for the clients that it served, both by what the office looked like. So when somebody came in there, they didn't feel as though they weren't good enough or weren't getting really good or weren't respected enough. Or a lot of places you can go into, like say a welfare office or an aid for what is it called now, WIC or TANF. Those offices sometimes aren't painted. They're not very nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
you sort of feel like you're down and out.
Exactly.
Well, that's not what this was about. And then I went to the shelter, and the shelter had just had a makeover by Homemade, and it was an incredibly beautiful home. So that if I was to be a mom who brought my kids there out of a terrible situation where my life was in danger, and I was feeling like I was it was all my fault, that I was the person who created this, which is what most women feel, which is not true. But they come to that place, and somebody brought me into this home, I would feel like there was really hope for a better life for me. And so I was just so moved by that I just said, yeah, I'd be interested in interviewing for this job. This would be kind of cool. So, and fortunately, then I got the job. And we've been able to then, kind of grow a really good team of people, both at our outreach center in Newhall and at our shelter that's also in Santa Clarita. And again, it's across the board. We see women. I mean, we have women from all the neighborhoods in Santa Clarita. And I think I've been on this show before and told you that people from Santa Clarita don't stay in our shelter. What they do is they come, then they get safety transferred to another community where actually it's not within their danger zone. So they have to be somewhere where their batterer won't see them. Doesn't it make sense?
Yeah.
Because eventually, after a 72-hour hold, they're going to go out into the community, and so we want them to be able to do that in safety.
Yeah.
While they get their resources together. But at the outreach center, that's where we really serve Santa Clarita women. People will come in for support groups. We've got this cool thing happening this year with we do a meditation group, so we're hoping to really help women be able to calm themselves and not get triggered by certain emotions that they've had because of post-traumatic stress syndrome. So that's been a popular new program. Plus, we do about 6 different parenting workshops during the course of the week. And then we also offer everything in English and in Spanish. And we do the support groups so that people come in and they get educated in why I might have been in this relationship, but really, how do I not get in that relationship again?
Yeah.
And that's the hope for us, is that they make a choice never to get in that again. But we do a lot of cool stuff on breaking the cycle for kids. That's another thing that we do.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you guys are celebrating 30 years.
30 years in the Santa Clarita Valley.
years.
So thank you to Santa Clarita for supporting us, because sometimes people don't always think that Awesome Town might have a domestic violence center in it, but it does.
Yeah.
Last year we served 625 women at the outreach center.
Holy cow.
And at the shelter, we do it in bed nights, like how many nights were the beds occupied or how many beds were occupied during the course of the year. And we had 1,175 bed nights at the shelter last year.
Good grief.
I know. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. That's wonderful. That's wonderful what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank
wonderful
you.
what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you.
And yeah, you're going to be back on Thursday. So
Yes,
we're going to
we are.
we're going to get deeper into this.
You
on
are.
Thursday.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
But the 30th anniversary celebration, you can find out more information dvc-scv.com. There's a big old banner at the top of the page.
That's right.
And go check it out.
Thank you so
Linda,
much.
thank you so much. We'll see you again on Thursday.
Okay, great.
All right,